Bank like a champion when you bank with University Credit Union. UCU is the official credit union of UC Davis and is committed to giving every UC Davis student, faculty, staff, and alum a financial advantage. From low loan rates and financial coaching to high savings rates, including our new Elite Certificate Special, University Credit Union helps you reach your financial goals. Visit ucu.org for details. Use promo code AggiePridePodcast to get started. University Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. So, welcome to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. It's the Causeway Classic week, and we're coming with all the hard hitters. We've already had Josh Flushman on this week, and now we're actually crossing the Causeway, believe it or not, because that's how nice we are here. And we have one of our sponsors and a friend of the program, the Chief Growth Officer for University Credit Union, Megan Eisenhard. Welcome to the pod, Megan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Brock.
Yeah, and thank you guys for the support. As we were kind of chatting before we clicked record, it's been really cool for us to see the growth of our little podcast, but it has only been able to do that because of companies like yourself and individuals like yourself. And so it's fun for us, but it's also interesting to learn more about UCU, and our friend Dom Noto and the rest of the gang there have enlightened Dwight and I quite a bit on what the organization does. But we will wait to get into the company because we start at the beginning for everyone with their sports story, really the origin of where sports first came into your life, earliest memories, and how it's impacted you up until the point that you're at right now. So just kind of start wherever you feel like makes sense and share with us how sports have impacted your life.
Sure. So I grew up in the Central Valley. I grew up in Los Banos, California, which is, an hour and a half from Davis. And if anyone has been to the Central Valley, which if you're in Davis, you're part of the Central Valley, but even more south than Davis, there's not a whole lot to do. And so growing up, I played sports all the time. So my sports story starts as a little girl playing travel softball in 110-degree weather in Central California, playing volleyball, basketball, whatever sport was offered, I played it. This was back in the day when you could play 3 sports in high school and it was okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm dating myself. So then after high school, I decided I wanted to keep playing sports. So I actually played volleyball at Merced College. I went to a junior college, had a great time there, and then thought I could continue on. And I went to a really small D3 school in Iowa for a year, for my junior year, and played volleyball there. But then after that, I said, Iowa's a great state, but it's just not a state for me, and I'm not going to be a pro volleyball player. So I just want to get back home, closer to home, and figure out what I want to do. And so I was able to transfer to Sac State.
It hurts. It's hurting my ears.
I'm so honored that you're having me on the show, even though I'm a Hornet. But I only went there 1 year. I don't know if that helps at all, but
that helps. It does help.
Yes. So I transferred to Sac State. I decided to stop playing volleyball, but I loved sports. And so I figured, well, why don't I try to work in sports? So I got an internship with the Sacramento State Athletic Department my senior year, and then got a full-time job there. So I continued in the sports industry, but just not playing. So from there, I actually got a job at Cal at Berkeley, so UC school. And that was in the glory days of Cal football, where Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn-Lynch were on the team. And I was actually there when Marshawn stole the golf cart and rode it around. Were you there too?
Against Washington, 31-4 in overtime. I was there. I was on the recruiting list for Cal as a decent high school football player. And I brought my girlfriend's father to the game. It was because I got 2-3 free tickets every game. And that was the game. I'm like, I brought my girlfriend's father, and Marshawn goes dumb and hyphy after the overtime win. Sorry, that was great memory too, but keep it.
See, we were there. We were there together.
That's so
fun.
Small
world. I'm telling you, small world. So loved that time. It was just fun to see the football program be successful, and got to know a lot of former players and current players and the coaching staff there. Actually, Justin Wilcox was my roommate for a little bit back when he was an assistant coach. I know it's kind of crazy to say, hey, my roommate is the head coach now.
Yeah.
And I got to know Josh Fleshman, who you had as one of your interview guests because he was at Cal. So it was a really fun time to be there where there was just a lot of young people that were working in college sports that, loved it. And we hung out together and it was just a really, really fun time. So from there, I started working for a company called Learfield Sports. Actually, when I was at Cal, I was working for a company called ISP Sports, which then was acquired by another company in the space and kind of the multimedia rights space in college sports. There's only a few key players, but I started working in that space at Cal, and then I ended up moving to Colorado and worked for Learfield and did a lot of different things in the college athletic space. So again, my journey continued with working in sports because I couldn't play them. And the older I got, the worse I got at playing. So I don't even play volleyball anymore because it's just so embarrassing. So University Credit Union, because they were one of my clients. So I was in charge of selling sponsorship agreements and working with campus-wide sponsorships and naming rights sponsorships. So I was on the Learfield side and I was hired by UC Davis to help them with their naming rights opportunity for the basketball arena. And I got to know the University Credit Union team, and it made a lot of sense to do a naming rights partnership at UC Davis. And so now there's the University Credit Union Center on campus.
No.
So I was on the other side of the table when that happened.
Yeah.
And then an opportunity came where the previous CEO at University Credit Union called me and said, "Hey, I think you'd be great on our team. I want to steal you. And I think you can help us because our mission is to serve the university community. And we think that you would do a really good job because of your understanding of the college space and the athletic space and the campus space." And so that was 2.5 years ago. And I've been at University Credit Union ever since. So I bet you weren't expecting that sports story from a credit union person.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because getting to know Dom a little bit, his story's different, but there's some similarities in there. Companies will athletics, and I'm not going to try to go too deep into this because it's not my area of expertise. I'll stick to the X's and O's, but there's no denying that a lot of different companies see the value in athletics, period. But I think the part that stands out to me amongst many, including Marshawn doing donuts in the golf cart, is the fact that, your company saw UC Davis and that opportunity as something that they would want to be a part of, and that it's not just necessarily like something that's focused on profit or just the business margin. There's the giving back to the institutions, to the athletes, that it sounds like, at least from my small sample size, there's a lot of probably former athletes is the vibe I get from UCU. So you've been there 2.5 years. Like, give me a little bit of like the company culture, what it's like, and a little bit more of the vision of University Credit Union.
Sure. So University Credit Union was started by UC employees on the UCLA campus in 1951. So that story in itself really drew me to University Credit Union because we're the only credit union that can say we were founded by the UC community, which is super cool. And so for a long time, University Credit Union just wanted to serve the UCLA community. We also partnered with Pepperdine and LMU because they're in the Southern California area and they had campuses in LA. Pepperdine actually started in LA before moving to Malibu. So recently, University Credit Union decided, hey, we need to grow. I think we can do a better job of serving the university community beyond UCLA. And so since then, we've partnered with 7 other schools. So we now have 10 schools that we partner with, some in the UC community, some in California. We've got one in Texas and one in Georgia as well, 2 in Texas and 1 in Georgia. And so again, I thought, okay, I'm a sports girl. I don't know anything about banking. I did not get my communication degree is not serving a financial degree by any means. But the value that I could bring to UCU with my, like I said, with the knowledge of campus, the knowledge of how they work, understanding a culture that really fosters growth and we're out there and we're trying to be part of the community, but there is a business aspect to it as well. That's what I brought to the table. And it was cool that they accepted me and they said, hey, we value different people that can bring different skill sets and different backgrounds to make us the best that we can be. And so that's what really drew me to University Credit Union. And then the fact that I knew they were partnered with UC Davis. Now we're partnered with UC Davis. It's awesome because UC Davis is in my backyard. Even though I'm a Hornet, I still support
Yeah.
the Aggies.
You see the light. You've seen the
Yes,
light.
yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Well, talk
I do.
about
I
that.
do.
Talk about the support for UC Davis specifically and like what this relationship is like.
Sure. So we have a contract. We have to start somewhere, right? And especially when you come in new, people want to know that you're for real, right? They want to know that you are going to invest in UC Davis. You're going to invest for a long time, and you're going to, put your money where your mouth is. And so you start with this contract that outlines these are the aspects of our partnership. We have the name on the UCU Center, which is awesome. But it's more than just that. Like that is just the starting point to make sure that people know who we are. We're University Credit Union. And then with that, we support pretty much all of campus, or we try to. UC Davis is rather large, and so we do what we can. But in addition to the athletic side of the house, where you can see University Credit Union when you go to athletic events or hear us on the radio or on this podcast, we also do a lot on campus. So we have a banking hub on campus for anyone to come visit and talk to one of our certified financial advisors or counselors. We have ATMs on campus, so that's, pretty normal in banking. It would be good to have a place where you can get cash, even though not a lot of people are using cash these days. But we also support different programs across campus. So we support the employees because that's how we were founded. We always make a donation to the Aggie Compass on campus, which supports it's more than just a food pantry, but it does support students and the community when it comes to food insecurity. And they also just provide a lot of resources for people in need on campus. We work with the Alumni Association. We work with the Student Union. We work with just lots of different student departments on campus. We work at the Mondavi Center. We're kind of all over, which we want to be, because our whole goal is to support the university community in general.
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
Wow. It is a lot. It's
and there's
more.
Probably a lot of things I'm missing.
Well, and that's interesting because it's more immersed than I would have imagined. Like you said, and I think it's the point of the naming rights. The way that the casual UC Davis alum, I'll just say, even for that matter, was first made aware was probably when the basketball stadium was renamed, and then seeing signage at the football stadium all around, even seeing like during tailgates. I know that UCU has like a big tailgate for homecoming every year and that sort of thing. For me personally, it was also, as a millennial, the email marketing and just getting alumni email marketing and like 4.25% high yield savings account, like sign up, things that's where my brain is at these days. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good rate there. Yeah. And so those were kind of the first ways that, as an alum, you see the brand, but to know all the different ways that you guys are immersed on the campus is really impressive. What do you think, you like about working with UC Davis? There's probably so many different individuals, departments that you're involved in, colleges on campus. What do you think makes UC Davis unique and better than Sac State to work with?
Well, it starts with the people. I think anytime you're doing any sort of partnership or relationship or business agreement, like you have to really enjoy who you work with. So it really does start with the people we work with on campus, from Chancellor May, who's been supportive of us since we started, to Rocco DeLuca. From an athletic leadership perspective, he's great. I actually knew Rocco when he was at Colorado and I was working at Colorado. So again, like it's a small world, but Rocco's been great. Yeah. Yes, for sure. Heather Hunter was the one who originally put this partnership together. She was working on campus and now she's in leadership with the athletic department. She's amazing. We just have so many people that are willing to help us and willing to work with us and willing to really tell our story to their groups, which is awesome. So it really does start with the people. And then we have great people too. So you mentioned Dom. Dom is one of our growth officers. We have another growth officer, Megan Sterling. We just hired a new wealth advisor. His name's Kevin Harper to serve the UC Davis community, and that's a new position. We've never had a financial advisor before. We've had Dom and Megan as financial counselors, but now we have an advisor, so you can do different things with your money with Kevin. So we have an amazing team. We've got a student, so we have a brand ambassador program, and we've hired a student. Her name's Divleen Loda, and she's amazing. So, like, I think just we've got great people. So I want to start there and say the Davis community is great. Love all the bikes. I like to cycle and ride my bike as well. So anytime I go to Davis, I get excited because there's so many cyclists on campus. And I think just people get it, and they see the value of what we're trying to do, and it's hard to do. This is a very crazy environment that we're living in right now. There's a lot of noise out there in general, like just life in general, but also when you talk about banking, like most people are not just going to put all of their banking services into one institution. And we get that. Like it's just like I'm sure you have a bank with one and a credit card with somewhere else, and you use Venmo and you use Zelle and you have money in your Starbucks app. So like that's normal banking these days. And so we just want to be a part of it, and we want to be able to help the Davis community. And they've been very open to that, which has been great.
Yeah. I
So
guess about that specifically, like being a part of it, I'm thinking of our listeners too. Some students for sure, a lot of alums, a lot of fans of the program, and people in the Davis community specifically who maybe didn't even go to UC Davis. I'm trying to think of what you would say are some of the, I don't know, like one or two pieces of advice for people. And I know you can maybe just focus on one of those demographics because everyone's situation is different. And that's why it's probably best to go to someone and get that customized advice. But based on what UCU is able to add in terms of value to the individual, yeah, does anything come to mind? Like, you know what? I think I'd recommend for people to do these two practical things, or it could be something totally different than that. But does that make sense?
oh yeah, absolutely. So and one of the things that we are very proud of is how much financial literacy, financial education, financial courses and workshops and one-on-one sessions and group sessions that we're doing. So I could give advice, but again, it would be better for you to schedule a meeting with Dom and Megan or Kevin because they do this every day. But what I would say, especially to the group that maybe has graduated, has started a family, owns a home, and we've talked about this a lot in my leadership circle, so I'm laughing to myself, is the HELOC. I just think right now, when there's kind of uncertain times, a HELOC is something that everyone who owns a home should look into because it's like a safety net. You
Mhm.
can get approved for a line of credit. You don't have to use it, but
Mhm.
it's there for you if you need it. And I think that it is a really important thing for people to know that is out there if they own a home and can use that. If you don't own a home, I think the most important advice is just to budget accordingly. Just
Yeah.
know where you're spending your money. Don't overspend. Understand what debt is and what it can do to you in your future. I mean, it's easier said than done. Believe me, when I got out of college, I had debt. I didn't pay attention. My husband is a financial advisor, which is so funny because he was a basketball coach. So both of us were in these sports worlds, and now we're both in financial services. But he's always been very good with money. And he's like, Megan, you got to pay this off and you got to do this and we got to save this and we got to do this. And I'm just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But I'm so thankful that I had him to guide me to have a budget, to have a savings plan, to not go into too much debt, to pay off, to live within your means. And that really helped me. So I think from like a product perspective, it's looking at a HELOC. From just a life perspective, it's just really understanding like how can I get my finances in order because it really does affect your mental health. Like I
Sure.
really think like people think about money a lot in lots of different ways. And if you're having challenges with your finances, like if you can get them a little bit more under control, I think you'll be so much healthier paired with other, life choices that you want to make. But like just understanding your finances and trying to get them under control, I think that's really important. And it's okay if you don't. There are a lot of people who have challenges with their finances, and that's what we're here for. Like, there's no judgment. We want seriously, we want to help you. Whether you use our products or not, we want to be a resource for you. And again, Dom and Megan and Kevin are probably better at it than I am, but I encourage you to reach out to one of them or to reach out to somebody just to say, hey, I just need a little bit of help here. And I think that's my advice.
Yeah. Very good advice. I think I will even use this word shame around finances is a thing at times, I think, for people. It's one of those things that, like you said, and athletes, I'm thinking of athletes too. Like athletes can have all sorts of different personalities. There's not just one type of athlete, but majority of athletes, especially collegiate athletes, which we have a lot of collegiate athletes who are now working professionally in other fields who listen to this are disciplined humans. And yet, like, it's hard to have every part of your life lined up with that same level of intensity and discipline that you might put into physical health or even professional success. If you're having a lot of success, but you're spending a bunch of money or whatever the case may be, then it's not necessarily always gonna be positive for you. But I do just kind of think of our listeners like, hey, this is and we talk about it a lot, Dwight and I, there is a lot of fun stuff, and we're about to talk about it in life. Like the Causeway Classic is fun, especially as fans. If you're playing it, there's stress right now. Even fans are stressed a little bit too, but for the most part, like that is a fun
It's a
event.
big game, by the
And it's a,
way. This is a big
yes,
deal.
it's a big deal, and
A big deal.
we're pumped. And so we'll chat about that in a second. But like, in addition to a fun podcast talking about fun things, it's like we also like to talk about important things, serious things even. And so like this, I think,
Yeah.
is one of those where there's a seriousness to take. And I think it is like that the HELOC is something even personally, like I've looked at at different times. And so to hear you talk about that again, I think the interesting thing to me is like, it's a line of credit. It's not just a lump sum that you have given to you that you now are starting to pay back. I'm not even going to talk more than that because I feel like I'm gonna be wrong about something.
You're doing
Um,
great. You're doing great.
but I think uh, I will shift us to some fun. You are a Sac State alum.
Fun, Brock. Finances are fun,
Yeah, finances are fun. You're right. And
but more
they
fun. Okay, let's go.
they do. They are. They allow us to have fun too, which is what we'll do because we've budgeted for Saturday. We've budgeted the tailgate.
Yes.
We've budgeted the
Yes. That's
tickets.
good.
We've budgeted the
See,
parking.
perfect.
It's all in there. When you budget,
Yes.
you're free. You're free. You just enjoy life. So tell me, I guess, do you have any Causeway Classic memories? I know you were just there for a year. And if not, what are you looking forward to about this Saturday? And like, what does it kind of mean for UCU to be the title sponsor for not only the stadium, not only other endeavors on campus, but like this game specifically?
Well, like I was saying, it's a big deal. Like, I'm very sad that this might be the last Causeway Classic. Like, I still have hope that it's going to get picked up again in the future, maybe not next year, but it's sad. It's a thing for people in Sacramento and Davis. And so I'm very sad that this might be the last one. So how are we going to make it exciting? It's going to be exciting on the field, but how can we help make it exciting off the field? I know that our team's going to be handing out the Shredville roller banners, and I think they're actually going around tailgates, handing out megaphones. So we're trying to make it more fun. And again, it's okay that you cheer for UC Davis because we support UC Davis, and I'm neutral. That's why I wore a University Credit Union shirt today because I'm
There you
neutral.
go.
But I'm going for UC Davis. Do I have any memories of the Causeway Classic? It was at Sac State when I was there, and so we hosted it, and I was working. So when you work in college sports, you don't really get to watch the game.
Yeah.
You have to run around and make sure that like the Hornet's blown up, and you have to make sure that the tailgate's set up for your VIPs, and you have to make sure that your sponsor signs are up and clean. And so, but I remember just the hype around it and how like, yes, this is a thing. Like these are our rivals. And so I love the rivalry spirit. I mean, like I said, I worked at Cal, and so we had the Cal Stanford rivalry, and I worked in college sports. So I've been to a ton of different rivalry games, and like It's a big deal, and the fact that you both are, like, in the hunt for the playoffs, and I really want UC Davis to win because it's always better when our partner teams goes the extra mile, and so I will be rooting for UC Davis. Don't tell any of my Sac State friends that. But no, I'm excited. We love supporting again when the university comes together and the feeling of togetherness, and we're all like rooting for the same thing, or at least UC Davis fans are rooting for UC Davis and Sac State for Pitt. But you know what I mean. And so I think it's just we're super excited to be there. We love when we get to sponsor games like this. We
Yeah.
love being part of the action. So yes, we love the Causeway.
I love it. The
Although I don't
word
like
that
the
comes to,
trophy. I feel like did you ever hold the trophy, like,
yeah, it's very heavy.
piece of the Causeway? I don't know, it's like
I
the ugliest trophy out there. I feel like we coulda done better with that.
Okay, see, that is so interesting. So you said, hey, the Josh Fleischman one, it was for subscribers only. I told you it's about to come out for everyone. In that at pod, I I actually have a different take. So we have two rivals. We have Cal Poly and
Okay,
we have Sac State.
okay.
For Cal Poly, it's a golden horseshoe. And it used to be like this massive golden horseshoe. They're the Mustangs. We have Gun Rock. Okay, it makes sense. But then it got lost and then they changed it and it's like a tiny little like actual like horseshoe, like a real size
Horseshoe.
horseshoe. I thought it looked lame. The Causeway, and yes, I have held it because we won. It's very heavy. It feels legit. It feels authentic. It makes sense given the rivalry, and it's different than other trophies out there. So on the Flush Pod, I was like, "It's one of the best trophies." I like went in on it. So it's hilarious to hear you say like, "That's a lame trophy." That is sports, though, right? Like different takes, different
It is,
size.
it is.
Totally
Totally.
makes sense.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
the word that kind of
yeah.
comes to mind as you were kind of sharing about the game and your guys' sponsorship is legitimacy. And it actually came up this week with Coach Plow, who's been super successful in his 2 years as head coach with us. So much so that like each of the last few weeks, he keeps getting attached to like different schools' jobs that they're trying to hire, like
I
Colorado
know, we
State,
gotta keep
Oregon
them.
State.
Are we gonna keep them?
Yeah, yeah,
Can
I
you
think
help
so.
Brock? Can
I
you
think for a
keep them
little
here?
bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for a little bit, I kind of do worry about like he initially is like, I'm gonna be here 10, 15 years. I'm like, it's looking less and less like that with how good he's been. But I think he'll be here a bit longer. We hope it's a lot longer. But even that, like he used the word like that legitimizes what we've been able to do as a program, not just me, but the program. And I think in some ways, like even for our podcast, it's like we want to do things as best we can to add legitimacy to this podcast and to this football program that we feel is legit. Like it is a top 25 FCS football program. I think there's 5 schools who've been in the top 25 for more than 27 straight weeks. We're one of them. So we've been at that top of the FCS in the country for a while, but your sponsorship of the game, your sponsorship of the entire school, and like you said, having ATMs and advisors and counselors on campus, I feel like is legit. I will not ask you for a score prediction unless you really want to. We finish with the final word, which is really just a reminder of the audience, which I've already kind of told you who listens to this, and just really an open forum or an open mic for you to share whatever is on your mind, whatever is on your heart that you feel like you would want to be like kind of your parting shot.
Yeah, well, I also wanna say we're trying to do a lot for the student athletes and former student athletes at UC Davis. I think it's an important group. Like, again, I was a student athlete, not at UC Davis, but I know how hard it is to be a student athlete. And especially now, I can't even imagine with what's going on with NIL, the transfer portal, and just all the stresses and pressures that student athletes have. It's even, like I said, it's more than when I was doing it. And we know that, and we want to be there, and we want to be there to support student athletes, former student athletes, alumni, through whatever journey that they're on. And so, in addition to everything that we're doing on campus, I don't want to lose fact that we're helping student athletes like you and former student athletes like you. And we're doing all that we can uh, with the Aggie Leverage program. We've been involved in that, trying to just help people understand what careers are after them. We sponsor the Women in Leadership program. Again, like I said, we do a ton of financial wellness workshops for teams. And so I want this audience to know that we know the importance of athletics, of college athletics, of student athletes, of connections, you said at the very beginning of this podcast, like student athlete, or at some point you said they're disciplined and they're hardworking, and we love people like that. And we want to be able to support them in whatever they need financially and beyond. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows, like UCU, we want to be legitimate. We hope that we're doing a good job. I mean, we would love feedback of what else you can use or need or would want from a sponsor like us and from a supporter like us and from a financial institution. So totally open to any feedback there, but we're really trying to ingrain ourselves with the UC Davis community. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that.
Yeah, no, I think it comes across too. Like, I really do think it comes across all the different programs and initiatives that you talked about. And I'm glad that you included that, because I think the student athlete is why we're here in a lot of ways. That's why we're in the virtual podcast room, because of our love for athletics, our love for UC Davis athletics, and wanting to make it the best experience possible for them and have people set up for success for the rest of their life too. So thank you for hopping on the pod tonight. This was really fun. Go Aggies, beat the Hornets.
I'll give a final score prediction. I'm not scared. Okay. I'm not scared. I'm actually, even though I'm a Hornet, I'm going to select UC Davis as the winner. So you're welcome.
There you go.
And I think the final score is going to be, again, I think there's some good offense that both teams have. So I'm going to predict it to be a high scoring game. I'm going to say final score is 42-35.
Ooh, that'd be a fun game. I'm fine with that. We win 42-35, get to see a bunch of touchdowns. Okay, well, you heard it here first.
What do you think? Wait, what's your score prediction? What's yours?
I like it.
What's yours?
Yeah, good question. For me personally, I see it as two very talented offenses that are going to run the ball. And so I think the clock's going to be ticking. And so I think that'll keep the score a little lower than 42-35. I have UC Davis 27, Sac State 24 in the last Causeway Classic ever. And it's going to go down in history as the Aggies keeping that little cylinder concrete thing in Davis forever, because we win it, we keep it. They can go, fly around as their Hornets do in Sacramento or whatever. That's my prediction.
You get to hoist it. You get to come and hold the heavy thing whenever you want then. That's great.
Yeah. It gets little biceps, get some biceps. That thing's heavy. Well, thanks again, Megan. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll do it again next year. And I know it was beneficial for our audience, and hopefully, we see you again real soon.
I love it. And they can go to ucu.org/UC Davis. That's a site dedicated to the UC Davis community for University Credit Union. So feel free to check us out on the website too. I would be remiss if I didn't say where to find us. So there you go.
No, you're right. And I dropped the ball there. ucu.org/UC Davis is the link. We'll include it in the show notes. Our website also has UCU hyperlinks that you guys can find. So make sure to check that out, because I know that's a great resource. So, all right, Megan. Well, thanks for including that. Awesome. And thanks again for joining.
Thanks, Brock. Appreciate it.
Awesome.